that, we'll get underway. Looking to call to order our regular meeting of Council for October the 10th. Welcome, everybody. We are acknowledging that we are meeting on the shared traditional lands of the Coast Salish people this evening. And as we progress through our agenda, starting with the approval.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Public participation. We have a few faces in the audience here. If you have something you'd like to mention to council, it is your time. Name and address at the podium. And if you don't want to divulge that, at least provide it to our recorder on the side.
Hello. My name is Chris Millington. I live at 553 Delora Drive. I've been talking to or emailing with Evo earlier today. My question is regarding the future traffic flow into Wishart Gardens. And at the present, most of the traffic is running up Delora and a little bit is running up Wishart into the new development. Once completed, there will be 24 new single-family homes, 22 townhouses, and 48 units in a condo that is to be completed. The condo is the last phase of the development, and it could start as early as April 2018. This is a total of 94 new homes. That's a lot of new families with the possibility of maybe 1.5 cars each. This level of density will create too much traffic for Delora. Delora is a windy residential road with a lot of pedestrian traffic coupled with vehicle parking on all sides, and it also has no sidewalks. The future plan of Wishart Gardens calls for Marianne Crescent to be extended and then run into the new condo development. The congestion had been anticipated by the planners, therefore the extension of Marianne into the condo development. If completed, it would relieve the traffic on Delora. But Rex Coburn and Andy Cotton, who own the land where Marianne is to be extended into the condo, are in some type of partnership dispute. The likelihood of them finishing Marianne by the time the condo and the Wishart Gardens is completed seems to be very remote. To avoid future traffic, parking, and pedestrian problems on Delora, can the City of Colwood force Rex Coburn and Andy Cotton to finish Marianne as per the plan, or can the City of Colwood finish Marianne and then place a lien against the developers, and then the city could recoup their funds once the land is developed or sold? That's my statement. I don't know if you respond to it or you just...
No response at this time,
okay.
Chris. It's just you give us the information, and it's been duly recorded, and I sense a topic of discussion in the near future.
Does everybody know the area and what I'm talking about? Okay, I'll leave it.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. Anybody else in the public? Last and final chance. Seeing none, we shall move on. Mayor's message. It's been a busy time off since our last meeting. Your council attended UBCM, and we all took something different away from it. Many sessions with lots of information, and we're still on the digesting of information and that sort of thing. So we will have reports coming forward at a future time. On behalf of council, you may have seen there has been a meeting organized with the province and BC Transit, and many of the mayors and councils within the jurisdiction here to address transportation issues that are ever increasing in this area. And so we will be keeping the public apprised of outcomes of that when that happens. It's been had to have been moved. It was slated for the 16th of October, but the ministry's asked for a change of date, so we're working with them. Anything else from council over the last couple of weeks? Councillor Nault?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I got a great opportunity this summer to go in the Shake House at Wanda Fuca Rec Center. It's people that don't know about it, it's a room that they can shake to simulate a magnitude 8 earthquake. It was a real eye-opener. I would recommend anybody that gets a chance to take that ride and then think about their earthquake preparedness. Secondly, I got a chance on the 22nd of September to participate in Colwood beach cleanup with the Victoria Green team, Elsie, and the Benevity group. It was an interesting cleanup. We covered 4 kilometers of beach, 2 kilometers on each side of the Cobourg Peninsula, picked up a large amount of garbage. Leading the parade was pieces of plastic at 59, food wrappers at 42, bottle caps 33, and so on and so on. But by far and away, the leader of the pack, cigarette butts at 2,400.
We think they're cigarettes.
So, well, there were also cigar tips in there too, which is another plastic item. Anybody out there that's a smoker, I urge you to get rid of your butts other than throwing them on the ground. They maintain a large environmental hazard. A few cigarette butts can kill a pond of fish. So, having said that, we also had a little excitement. There was a beach fire we discovered. Somebody had poured a barbecue of ashes onto one of the logs at the beach, and it was actually burning underneath the log. We put seawater on it, didn't put it out, so we did finally call in the fire department. So again, barbecues are welcome at the beach. Please be careful to put them out. And finally, I was just at an Elsie meeting. We had a very informative discussion from a Dr. Kristen Morel from UVic on the Leech River Fault, which runs pretty much through the center of the lagoon, through the center of Royal Roads University, and all the way out to Port Renfrew, and all the way down through the strait into the state of Washington. It is considered an active fault. It's a very shallow fault. The studies by Dr. Morel say that the most recent activity was, I think, somewhere in the terms of 1,647 years ago. It probably would have been the equivalent of a magnitude 8 earthquake because it's so shallow. Any buildings experience that level of shaking would be subjected to serious damage. Just out of curiosity, they think that earthquake was triggered by the big one they had back in 1647 along the west coast of the island, which is well documented. So it kind of sets off the warning for our emergency planners and our residents that while the big one might be way off at the north end of the island, there are all sorts of faults running through Colwood and under Victoria that could also become active. So pay attention to your earthquake planners. Thank you.
Good. Any other members of council? We shall move on then to adoption of one set of minutes this evening for the regular meeting of council for September the 11th.
Move adoption, Your Worship.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. And one set of minutes for receipt, transportation public infrastructure from July the 5th. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. We have a presentation for us this evening, and I'd like to welcome the CRD Traffic Commission representatives Chris Foord and Alan Perry to provide us with a bit of an overview on what's going on down with CRD and the Safety Commission.
Thank you, Mayor Hamilton. We're filling in for Colin Plant tonight. Colin is our chair, our very enthusiastic chair of the Traffic Safety Commission. And really what we want to do is just give you a complete rundown on what it is we do, what type of projects we get involved in, and why we would like Colwood to fully participate as a member on the commission.
Technical problem. Sam's just putting the batteries there.
We've got a good techie who can fix things.
I was going to say, isn't
Yeah,
there?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's I'll just get going while you're fixing this, Alan. The Traffic Safety Commission was created in 1986 by then Sydney Mayor Don Amos and Alan Lamb, who was a former Saanich police officer. And I'm sure Alan and I were involved from the late 90s. We've been doing this over 20 years, Alan. And everyone on the commission is a volunteer on that. And our mandate is really to actively promote traffic safety throughout the CRD by researching, developing, and funding evidence-based initiatives. And essentially, it means, enhancing road safety for all road users. Who is on the commission? We've got a list up here. We've got the public health and health represented. We have educators. We've got ICBC. We've got commercial vehicle safety, transportation planning, local government, traffic engineers, coroner, media, ambulance, auto insurance. We've got a full gamut of very enthusiastic people around the table. There's probably about 20 of us. I guess we meet once a month on the second Thursday of each month. And really, to accomplish our goals, we're trying to keep this to 10 minutes. So to accomplish our goal, the 4 E's, really education, engineering, enforcement, and evaluation. And again, we try and, come back to that in all of our campaigns. Our goal is really to create campaigns that work. And, here's really how we do it. We determine what the problem is and what the causes are, and we research and create targeted solutions that involve the 4 E's. And we minimize our costs by partnering with media outlets and others so that, we take our funding from the CRD and turn it into many times the actual value. I'm sure we're up at 6 or 8 times the actual value of the dollars that we get from the CRD. And again, most importantly, we measure the problems before and after our campaigns.
We have a couple key partnership principles here that we're very proud of. Projects should get at least a $3 value for every commission dollar that's spent. And this one sometimes gets a little tricky for us. No unsuitable partners. What would be unsuitable partner for a traffic safety commission? No alcohol, no tobacco, anything to do with that. We're kind of proud of the partnerships we've developed over the years. Our budget is $68,000 with cost of living, and we get 6 to 8 times that much by partnering with these agencies here. One of our most cost-effective ways of getting out our messages, and you participated in this, we have these huge vinyls. These are showing their evolution over the years that we not only put on institutional vehicles from municipalities, Island Health, Camosun College, anybody who's got a big blank truck, including a couple of companies that have come to us and said, hey, we'll put that up. We pay the cost of the vinyls. Chris helps get them designed and helps get them applied, and then they go up there. This initiative provides so much exposure at such a low cost that years ago we were invited to present to the World Traffic Safety Council in Vienna, in Austria, to show them how to do it here. So here's the bottom line for you in particular. How are we doing? There's a graphic up there for those that are listening along. Despite a rapidly growing population, we have the lowest rate of traffic fatalities of any region in the province. The lowest is on the lower mainland, where congestion limits speeds and makes crashes more survivable. And again, that's 2014 figures. All of the indications are from the coroner service that they are continuing to drop. In terms of actual lives, Chris?
Well, back in 2003, we had 25 people lose their lives in traffic crashes in this region, and by 2010, it was down to 17, and last year the number was 10. And I think we're at 7 this year, although we had some discussion it might be 8.
We're not taking credit for that, but we do think some of our initiatives have played a key role in that. Take, for example, our holiday zero tolerance driving campaigns. It used to be common to have numerous fatal crashes during Christmas and New Year's. Not anymore, at least not here. For the several years now, we've either had no fatal crashes or just one. And not just Christmas and New Year's. We've extended that right through to Super Bowl in February.
And again, thanks to our media partners on allowing us to do that. I'm sure we're getting 3 and 4 airings for many of the commercials that we do run.
Although our traffic death and injury rates are among the lowest in the province per capita, we continue to have a significant number of pedestrians being hit. So this is one of the things that we've done. We created pedestrian visibility signs like these, which have been on bus shelters and the sides of institutional vehicles. We've also aired radio and TV ads on this theme. Through our partnership with CTV Vancouver Island, which gives us high-profile newscast exposure at a fraction of the usual cost, we're currently airing TV ads which target distracted driving, how to avoid neck injuries, urging pedestrians to make eye contact with drivers before crossing a street so they don't end up dead right. Protect Your Neck is also the current theme of our highway signs, which are on both the Pat Bay and Trans-Canada highways. We pay to have the signs created. At a hefty discount, Main Road installs them for us at no charge. Chris?
And, more recently, the slow down and move over legislation in the province, I mean, it's encouraging to see everybody doing the right thing. Contrast to what I saw in Penticton a year ago with 11 vehicles, not one of them moved over for an ambulance. So I would hope it's getting better there. But there again, there's no other group like us doing any local promotion or education on these things. And again, we're, backing up, getting very creative when it comes down to distracted driving. And really, that's one of the largest challenges we face right now is distracted driving. The other one about to embark on us is going to be marijuana and driving. And, it took us 2 years to get the drinking and driving reasonably under control. I'm hoping it's not going to take 2 decades to tackle the marijuana and driving.
Because we try to take the emotion out of it and be evidence-based, we're regularly sought out by the media to comment on traffic issues. Chris lives on CFAX, I think, doing open line radio. But it really enables us to do a lot of education and awareness at virtually no cost.
One of our projects this year, in partnership with the Victoria Shamrocks, we awarded the inaugural Constable Sarah Beckett Memorial Scholarship to Tanner Stevenson at the August 13th Shamrocks game with West Shore RCMP and Constable Beckett's family in attendance. And again, we just thought that was a very appropriate thing to do. And the Tanner is going into criminal. He's basically entering a bachelor's program in criminal justice, and we wish him all the best in that. And I think that's a very, very fitting way to honor Constable Beckett.
That was a neat one. In partnership with CTV Vancouver Island, we thought, well, we think we know a lot about traffic safety, but are we getting through? So we invited young people to create a TV ad on what to do about drunk driving and stoned driving. And 2 students from grade 11 at Stellies ended up winning a MacBook Pro for their entry, and now it's on their resume. They've had a TV ad that airs on CTV Vancouver Island. Enough about the past, though. Here's where we're headed. A couple that we thought would be of particular significance for you.
Mackenzie Avenue interchange, as it progresses, we're really trying to make sure that we minimize any conflicts between all of the various road users. As a cyclist, I'm through there every week or so, and it seems it's every couple of weeks it's changing, and it's good to see it progressing. I wish they would include the Mackenzie and West Burnside intersection as part of it, because I think it's going to snarl things up as soon as it opens by not addressing that.
We have to move the overpass down closer to the road to make the sight lines better. They're creating a second park space by Cuthbert Holmes Park to make that safer as well. They've been really receptive to us. This is one of those small ones you won't hear much about, but we're kind of proud of. For several years, we've been partnering with the Road Safety Foundation to help pay for the training of child car seat inspectors. We're now working with Beacon Community Services and the Refugee Society to make sure that refugee families also get those, also First Nations people and people on low income. So we actually quietly make sure that they have a car seat. It's one of those things that really we feel important about. And this is probably the other biggie for you out here. We've been working for years with our partners on making the Malahat safer. In 2007, 2011, and again last year, we showed that speeding, dangerous driving, and tailgating, and the resulting crashes and road closures could be eliminated almost in 2 or 3 weeks. But that's very, very expensive. The province has made it clear that they're not willing to pay for enhanced enforcement up there. So we've been quietly and not so quietly encouraging the province to use the Malahat to pilot test new technologies. And as you may have seen recently in the news, Attorney General David Eby says he's taking seriously a request from the CRD and the CVRD. And Chris, we felt it was important that it not just come from the CRD.
Yep. Well, exactly. The Malahat spans both regional districts, and really, the world has changed so much since photo radar was done in 2001. Someone had to go take the film out of the camera. It's a different world. Laptops were new. There were no smartphones. It's a totally different world. So we've been encouraging the province to take a look at new technology. I'm sure the former transportation minister figured my middle two names are speed camera. Anyway, it's been, we've been on that one for quite a long time. But the point-to-point cameras that we're proposing for that, we certainly think could help to contain the worst of the speed demons.
We're also working on crotches kill, which is our slogan for people who, now that the penalties are tougher for distracted driving, they put the phone down here, which makes it even worse. We're also working on getting the helmet wearing rate, even though we're the highest in North America, we're working on getting that up. We're helping with the CRD Active Transportation and Healthy Communities initiatives to fund 14 projects to make not just vehicle traffic, but other methods of traffic, including traffic on the Galloping Goose out here safer. This is one of our next big ones, Roundabouts 101. I mean, we laugh, but...
No one turned into butter yet.
Yeah, but we're going to find a way to teach people how to use roundabouts. There we go. So, this is the real bottom line for you. We appreciate your support morally, but we would like your help financially. Colwood and Metchosin are the only two parts of the capital region that do not help pay for our operations. Chris and I are volunteers, and we're glad to do that. Our requisition this year is $69,380, the same as it's been for about a decade, except for cost of living increases.
Yep.
We asked CRD Finance to do the math for you. Your share would be $2,152, 31 cents per average residential assessment. And they gave us one other little tidbit that we found interesting. That's 3.1% of our budget, even though Colwood has 4.5% of the region's population. So a good deal, we like to think. And yes, we'll be going to Metchosin next month to ask them to close that gap, to do that one there. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your time. We'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you.
And with that, thank you very much, fellas, and I will turn it to council if they have any questions in regards to the presentation. Councillor Day.
Thank you. I really appreciate the work that you do, and I have certainly noticed that your creative advertisements are really starting to be very eye-catching, and they are really, I think, touching a chord with people. So I'm hopeful that that will continue. I'd really like to see some more information targeted to drivers and how to interact with cyclists, because I see a lot of conflicts and hear a lot of feedback from the youth in my household who are cyclists and what they encounter on the roads, and just every day they ride, I cross my fingers that they'll come home alive.
It's a big one for us, yeah.
Absolutely. I know in the past we've put some money into some of the skills courses that are run through Bike to Work Victoria, and they've probably put 2,500 to 3,000 people through those skills. And those are the cyclists who are motioning where they're going next, and who don't ride on sidewalks and, the wrong way on one-way streets, and, the ones who are responsible on their bikes. And I think that, we need to encourage everyone to take that course, especially every time I see someone riding on a sidewalk. I think, boy, there's a future candidate for that course.
Yeah, absolutely. But what I was getting at too is for drivers to know what to expect
Not
from
us
cyclists on the road,
Yeah.
because they have the
new
power.
bike lanes in downtown Victoria, the first one's gone in, and that what a kerfuffle that caused. One of our conditions of funding the City of Victoria's information program was that they actually put staff or volunteers on the new intersections explaining to the motorists no turning right on a red light. And they stood there with giant signs like you'd see for people advertising something. Half the people turned right on a red light, waving at the person, and turned right at the red light. So after 2 weeks, police started giving them reminders, and on the third week, they started giving them tickets. And now it's not a problem anymore. But boy, that attitude changed.
Change is always difficult.
Yeah.
Councillor Logan.
Thank you, Worship. Well, when Susan Bryce came, I think I was the one that said, what does the Traffic Safety Commission do? And so I really appreciated the highlights here. It certainly gave me a lot to chew on, but I think more so, I drive the Malahat every single day to work, and so I tell you, it's opened my eyes, and people on my ass, going up and going down. And so I appreciate the leadership that the commission has taken on that stretch of highway. And if people drove it every day, they would see things that would shock the hell out of them, quite frankly. So, and I consider myself lucky when I make it back and forth every day without seeing too much.
I keep
drama.
asking the question, can someone please find me another community of about 400,000 people that has its main road into town as a single lane road with a 60-kilometer speed limit on it? I think that's just totally inadequate.
One of the secrets to our success is that we're apolitical. We don't attack the government, we just encourage, and now we've had a change of government, so we were really heartened to have the Attorney General, even though he said no speed cameras anywhere, now he said he's seriously, and I think the key factor was that it came from 2 regional districts. That question did come up. How come this one that goes through it's not part of it? He said, we're going. So
good.
there's your challenge.
Thank you.
Councillor Knoll.
Thank you. I noticed that your graph showed the fatality rate on the lower mainland was the lowest of all, and you said that was caused by congestion. Anybody that's tried to get from Colwood to downtown might argue we're catching up pretty quick.
Well said.
We're going slower each year, yes.
All right, appreciate the information and the presentation. And the number will probably be entered into our upcoming budget discussions in going forward. So that's the appropriate place for that to happen, and look forward to being in contact. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for what you
Thank
do
you.
as well. Thanks.
We have one item of correspondence that was presented to us that came in form of an email, and it's much a reminder, folks, that there is an attempt by the Salish Sea folks to bring a heritage status to our water out front. So they have provided a link, and I will have that put up on our website for anyone who wishes to sign on and read about what they're doing, and including any of the council members can make a personal signing on that petition that they're putting through. They've got about 2 months left on their drive to have this Salish Sea legacy established. So it will be put there. So we have opportunity to receive this letter.
Move receipt.
Second, discussion?
Thanks. I just wanted to point out anyone who was at all concerned about signing this petition, the request is for us to personally sign it and to share it through our networks. But it also mentions that there is still a full assessment process that takes place, even if it is determined that it is accepted as a World Heritage Site. The Salish Sea would still undergo a 6 to 10 year assessment and outreach process before it would be approved. So it isn't something that's going to be done willy-nilly, and you need not be afraid that signing the petition is going to start something in process that isn't firmly backed in science.
Thank you. With that, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 7.1 under Planning and Land Use Committee. It is a report in regards to street naming bylaw, Royal Bay Sector 2A. Ivo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have received a request from the developers of Royal Bay, who are now working on the next phase of their development. And their request is to add 3 street names to the most recent subdivision. The street names follow the theme birds, as what they birds of the Esquimalt Lagoon that they had previously submitted for the first phases of Royal Bay. So they're continuing with that theme. The subdivision has not been registered as of yet, so Council has the option of giving the bylaw the first 3 readings tonight, and once the subdivision is registered and roads have been dedicated, we can bring the bylaw back to Council for adoption. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions to staff on this? Councillor Day?
Thank you. Just the only thing that came up for me, I think the names look great, but it's the lane not being named, because it's, if you were turning on Dunlin Street from Latoria Boulevard, the first laneway there is Lane 1, it's called, and it joins up to Curlew Street. It is not going to have a name. So I'm just wondering if that's going to be confusing, or is there a plan for that in the future?
It's correct in that the lane will not be named. It has been CORRESPONDENce's practice to not name individual lanes, as for any addressing or emergency services will be accessing those properties off the named roads.
Any other questions? There is a recommendation. I need move and second, please.
Move the recommendation, Your Worship.
Any further comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Moving into transportation and public infrastructure, 7.2.1. This one is a request to allow unauthorized driveway widening at 734 Heaslip to remain in place. Councillor Nault?
Thank you. This was before committee. The issue is a driveway in front of this residence that is 7.7 meters wide, when 7 meters is the maximum allowed under our bylaws. The application was to allow the existing over-wide driveway to remain in place. Recommendation from the committee was to allow that the city allow the added portion of the driveway in front of 734 Heaslip Place to remain. However, I was opposed to that on principle that if you allow it for one house, you are possibly going to be asked to allow it for everybody. So I would prefer to see us change our bylaws before I start approving individual driveways on a willy-nilly basis. So I will not be moving this. If somebody else on the committee would wish to.
I'm on the committee, so I will move it.
I need a seconder, please, for discussion. Second. Discussion. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. I'm trying to pull out from the transportation, but I'm going off memory. And I'll look to my director of engineering to correct me if I go wrong on this. Part of the issue was that this was also a duplex, and we do not have any regulations around duplexes having a larger driveway than a single-family home. So what was happening was a single-family home can have a 7-meter driveway, whereas a duplex also, if it's a single access into that property, also can only have a 7-meter driveway. And so that was something that was discussed also to take it back, and hopefully staff at some point will also be reporting if there needs to be a change in recognition of a different class. If you also look at the picture itself, the picture, if I can recall, there's a small section that's a little triangle, and that triangle doesn't actually touch the road. It is actually, it's offset off the road, and any person just walking down the road would not think that that's part of the driveway because it's actually deep in, whereas the actual road frontage was how much? Do you have it?
Right here.
3.9 and 3.8. Yeah, so it was 7.7. So you're basically dealing with about a 0.7 more. And that was part of the reason why I was very supportive of us just moving forward and doing a one-time exemption for this specific property. And I'll end it there.
Any other comments, questions? Councillor Day?
Thank you. I had a careful look at the property in question just through Google Maps, and particularly because they're very good in terms of being able to really see how it is. And this property is on an exaggerated corner, on a bend. So you can definitely see that, and I don't have an opinion as to really whether, or not staff needs to change our bylaw altogether, given that there are many different configurations of family dwellings, and I don't think we want wall-to-wall driveways everywhere, because that limits a lot of things, including green spaces, including boulevards, and it has a lot of big implications. But on a one-by-one approach where you look at the individual area and decide, does that work for this community? Is it going to cause problems? I can see that there is still parking in the neighborhood, that it's probably more of a benefit than it is a harm. So overall, I'm supportive of this exemption at this time, simply because it seems to fit in that neighborhood at this time, and I haven't heard from anyone that it's a problem for them.
Anyone else? With a move and second on the table, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7.2.2, recommendation to request to close Nob Hill Road and consolidate with development lands.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The developer of properties adjacent to Nob Hill Road has requested that COL would close Nob Hill Road and remove its highway dedication in order to consolidate with the adjacent properties for a comprehensive development. The road closure process would include preparation of a purchase and sale agreement, notification to utilities, a road closure, and removal of highway dedication bylaw, public notice, and disposition of the land at fair market value based on an appraisal of the property. Recommendation to Council, and I would so move that 1, staff be directed to proceed with the preparation of a purchase and sale agreement and a road closure and removal of highway dedication process for Nob Hill Road, and 2, they obtain a $5,000 security to cover expenses related to the disposition of Nob Hill Road.
Discussion, Councillor Day?
Thank you. I have some concerns about this, given that it's 8 years ago that this proposal was brought forward, and I realize that the rezoning was done with the idea that this would happen, but I'm concerned that the city could potentially be losing out as this goes forward to consolidate, a plan that's at least 8 years old, and what is moving forward. If we're getting, a 2008 solution for a 2020 project. So I'd just like to know from staff if we have an application that's in process.
Through your worship, yes, we do have an application that is in process. Rachel is here from Turner Lane. If you have any direct questions about the development itself, it should be noted that even though this originally came about in 2008, it would be at recent assessed value, so current assessed value, not at 2008 value. So a recent assessment must be completed.
Any follow-up? Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Knoll?
It's just for the benefit of anybody that doesn't have the map right in front of them. This section, this bit of Nob Hill Road runs off of Wilfert Road just beyond Whale, and the only place it services is the properties in question, so it's really of no use whatsoever to the city as a road thoroughfare or won't connect to anything. So I strongly support disposing of this land at a fair market value.
Can we talk them into taking the corner piece too?
Conditional.
The big hole? So we have a recommendation before us. Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Now we're moving on into bylaws, and we have before us final reading for Colwood Land Use Bylaw number 151, 1989, amendment number 137.
Move final.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. 8.2, bylaw number 1691, final reading. Colwood Official Community Plan, bylaw number 999, 2008, amendment number 11.
Move final.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 8.3, bylaw number 1692, final reading. Colwood Land Use Bylaw number 151, 1989, amendment number 162.
Move final.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. 8.4, bylaw number 1704. This one is for first, second, and third readings. City of Colwood Highway naming bylaw for the Royal Bay roads.
Move introduction.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Move second.
All those in favor? Any discussion? Opposed? Motion carried. Third?
Move third.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Bylaw number, or 8.5, bylaw number 1705, again for first, second, and third readings. This is an exemption on certain land and improvements from taxation for a 10-year period. This was from a previous meeting that we directed staff to come up with a bylaw, so here you go, folks.
Move introduction.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Move third.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. With that, we are at the end of the meeting.
Move adjournment.
Just stop before you do that. Any of those in-camera release things that need to come out? The appointment? Yep. Oh. Okay, we can do it at the next one then. It's fine. Nothing then on that one. Looking for adjournment, Councillor Logan. Nobody else wants to get out of here. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.